Imagine, it's morning. You're already stuck in traffic. Ahead of you lies an endless line of cars. A newscaster's insistent voice, blaring about new crises, is ringing in your ears. A notification from your boss is flashing on your phone. Urgent. Last night's argument is replaying in your head, and you're about to run out of gas. Your palms are sticking to the steering wheel with sweat. Your insides are clenching into a tight, painful knot. Sound familiar? This isn't just a bad day. It's a textbook portrait of the modern man trapped. We live in a world constantly bombarded with demands, information, and chaos. We're constantly on edge. We're like that driver in traffic, caught in a bind and forced to react. To the traffic jam, with irritation. To the boss's anger, with fear. To the flood of bad news, with anxiety. We've surrendered internal control to the outside world, and it only gets harder with each passing day. What if I told you there's a way not only to survive this chaos, but also to maintain inner peace and clarity? A way that doesn't require retreating to mountains and becoming a hermit. It works here and now, in a traffic jam, at the office with your family. This way is Stoicism. Forget everything you've heard about it before. It's not about becoming an unfeeling block of stone. It's not a museum piece from ancient Greece. No, Stoicism is the operating system for the male mind in the 19th century. The outdated firmware is our emotional, impulsive reactions. They constantly glitch and freeze. Stoicism, however, is a stable, powerful system. It doesn't suppress emotions. It tames them. It teaches us to channel the colossal energy of fear, anger, or disappointment into constructive channels, into action, into decision. It's a philosophy of personal power, a strength that doesn't come from a protein shake or the size of your bank account. It's born within. It's the power of equanimity in the eye of a hurricane. When everything around you is crumbling, your mind remains clear and your heart calm, because you know you can't control every event in life, but you can always control your reaction to it. And in that reaction lies all your true power. This is exactly what I want to teach you. This article isn't a collection of boring quotes. It's a guide to action. It's a map that will help you find that inner core that won't break under any pressure. A core that will allow you to face any storm in life, not with hysteria and despair, but with a cool head and a firm hand. Are you ready to reboot your operating system? Then let's get started. Ahead are 7 key principles. 7 tools that will give you back control of your life. Friends, please subscribe, like, and comment. This is very important to us. And we continue. Section 1. Divide and conquer. The dichotomy of control. Remember the last time you were truly stressed. Perhaps it was today. A traffic jam that threatened to ruin your meeting. An angry comment from your boss in a work chat. The news that the currency rate had slipped again, threatening your savings. What do all these situations have in common? Here's the thing. You are wasting your mental energy, your nerves on something beyond your control. Completely. Absolutely. 100%. This is the main source of our stress and sense of loss of control. We're like a madman yelling at the rain to stop. We are trying to control the wind. And this is our fundamental misconception. The ancient Stoic Epictetus, a former slave, understood this better than many kings. He began his teachings with a simple yet brilliant principle: the dichotomy of control. Divide everything in your life into 2 categories. First, what is within your control? Your thoughts, your beliefs, your values, your goals, your actions, your reaction to any event. This is your inner fortress. Second, what is not within your control? The weather, traffic jams, other people's opinions of you, the dollar exchange rate, the past, the future. This is the outside world, which lives by its own laws. The problem with modern men is that they constantly storm their own walls, trying to conquer someone else's fortress. We exhaust ourselves trying to control the uncontrollable. We get angry at our wife because she's in a bad mood, her emotions. We despair over a negative comment on social media, other people's opinions. We torment ourselves with anxiety about tomorrow's negotiations, the future. We try to manage the ocean instead of learning to build ships. What should we do? The practice is ingeniously simple. When you feel a wave of stress, anger, or anxiety washing over you, ask yourself one question: what specifically does this depend on me? Right now, in this traffic jam, you can control the music choice. You can call and warn them you'll be late. You can listen to an audiobook. That's it. You can't clear the traffic jam with sheer willpower. Accept it. Stop bumping the bumper of the car in front of you. It's the weather. It's external. When your boss is dissatisfied with your work, you can control how you perceive their criticism as feedback, not a judgment. You can analyze your mistakes. You can create a new action plan. That's it. You can't control their mood or their final decision. It's someone else's opinion. It's external. That's the magic. You instantly regain your power. You stop spreading yourself too thin across 100 fronts and concentrate all your mental energy on the one front where you're truly strong, yourself. You begin to distinguish signal from noise, separate essence from fluff. You cease to be a puppet, pulled by external circumstances. You become the captain of your ship. You can't control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. This isn't passivity. This is the highest form of strategic activity. It's conserving 90% of your mental energy. And you can direct these 90% not to tilting at windmills, but to real action, to becoming better, stronger, and wiser. Right now, this is where it all begins. With this fundamental distinction, power over the world is an illusion. Power over yourself is the only real power you have. And the first step to it is recognizing the limits of your responsibility. Everything else is just a consequence. Section 2. Perception is everything. Reevaluating events. So, you've learned to differentiate. You know where your territory is and where it's not. You've stopped wasting energy trying to stop the rain. Great. But what do you do with the rainiest weather? With what's happening outside your fortress walls? Events still rain down on you. Traffic jams, criticism, failures, someone's rudeness. They hit you hard. And the first thing to suffer is our mood, our peace. Here lies the main trap. We believe that events themselves carry a certain charge. A traffic jam is bad. Criticism is painful. Failure is humiliating. We live in automatic, instantaneous reaction mode. Like Pavlov's dog. Thunder rumbles, we flinch. Someone is rude to us, we get into a fight or become despondent. But the Stoics discovered a fundamental law. There's a space between an event and your reaction, maybe just a split second. But in that space lies all your freedom, all your power. Here's how it works. Imagine a chain. Event. Your perception of the event. Your reaction, emotion/action. Most people live under the illusion that the chain looks like this. Event, reaction. Someone insulted you, you get angry. Negotiations fall through, you get upset. Stoicism points to a hidden central link, your perception. It's the root of all our emotions, not the fact itself, but how we interpret it, how we tell ourselves about it. Epictetus himself said, "It's not the things themselves that upset us, but our opinions about them." Let's look at some real-life examples. You're stuck in traffic. Automatic perception. This is terrible. My plans are falling apart. This is a disaster. My whole day is ruined. Reaction. Stress, rage, helplessness, banging the steering wheel. Now, let's apply Stoic reappraisal. We consciously rewrite the narrative. New perception. Yes, I'm stuck. That's a fact. I can't change it. But it's not a disaster, it's an opportunity. An opportunity to be alone. To listen to that podcast I never had time for. Or just to have a few minutes of silence without my phone and the hustle and bustle. My plans haven't fallen apart. They've just been pushed back by half an hour. New reaction, calmness, acceptance, maybe even a touch of gratitude for this unexpected break. Another example, criticism from a boss. Automatic perception. He's humiliating me. He thinks I'm worthless. This is a death sentence for my professional worth. Reaction. Resentment, fear, a desire to justify yourself, or aggression. Now reassessment. New perception. His words weren't a death sentence, but a free consultation. He pointed out my weaknesses. Now I know exactly what I need to improve. This isn't about my personality. It's about a specific task. This is valuable information for my growth. New reaction, attention, analysis, constructive dialogue, an improvement plan. See what's happening? You're not changing the event. You're changing its meaning for yourself. You're turning poison into medicine, an obstacle into a springboard. This is that very superpower. Managing your perception. It's a muscle that can and should be exercised. Every time you catch yourself in a negative automatic thought, stop, take a breath, and ask, how else can I look at the situation? What benefit can I get from it? What can I turn this into? It will feel strange at first. You'll feel a little foolish, but it will get easier each time. You'll begin to see problems as challenges, crises as opportunities, chaos as an opportunity to manifest your own order. You're no longer a pawn on life's chessboard. You're a player, and your most important move is how you choose to interpret the moves of fate. This is true power over reality, power that begins in your head. Section 3. Act, don't worry. Virtue ethics. You've already learned to distinguish between the controllable and the uncontrollable. You realize that power lies in your perception. Now comes the most important question. What exactly should you do? How should you move? What compass should you use in this chaotic world? After all, there are many ways to act. You can be cunning, you can press, you can walk over people. Or, on the contrary, you can hide in a corner and do nothing. The Stoics give a clear, stern, and incredibly liberating answer to this. Their compass is virtue, not in the hackneyed sense in which moralists use the word. For a Stoic, virtue isn't about being a good boy. It's about being a complete, strong, and effective man. It's the ultimate practicality. They identified 4 pillars on which everything rests. First, wisdom, seeing the essence of things, making the right decisions, distinguishing truth from lies. Second, justice, treating others honestly, keeping your word, being decent. Third, courage, facing difficulties, pain, and uncertainty, telling the truth, even when it's scary. Fourth, temperance, controlling your desires and impulses. Be the master of your passions, not their slave. What's liberating here? It's that your focus shifts completely. The modern world teaches us to focus on the outcome, on external validation, on your boss's approval, the number of likes, your salary, the make of your car. They call this success. And this is the main trap, because the outcome is not entirely in your control. You can do a brilliant job, but the project will be shelved. You can be honest, but you'll be lied to. You can be brave, but still lose. So what then? Worry? Run endless dialogues in your head? Blame circumstances? The Stoic says no. Focus on your character, not your CV. Your goal isn't to succeed. That's an uncontrollable outcome. Your goal is to do the right thing in accordance with virtue. Did you do all you could? Were you honest? Did you show courage? Did you act fairly? If so, your work is done. You did what you had to. Do what you have to, and come what may isn't fatalism. It's a formula for incredible mental freedom. You stop being held hostage to external judgment. You stop procrastinating out of fear that the result will be less than ideal. You stop waiting for perfect conditions that will never arrive. You just do it, right, here and now. Practice for a man. At work, your goal isn't getting a promotion. Your goal is to do your job conscientiously. Be a professional. Be a reliable colleague. Help others. A promotion is a possible outcome, not a goal. Your goal is to act virtuously. In relationships, your goal is not to gain approval or avoid conflict. Your goal is to be an honest, fair, and courageous partner. Tell the truth, even if it's unpleasant. Keep your promises. In an argument, your goal is not to win at any cost by humiliating your opponent. Your goal is to wisely seek the truth and defend your position fairly. When you begin to live like this, something amazing happens. Your self-esteem ceases to depend on external circumstances. It becomes unshakable. It is built on the rock of your actions. You may lose your job, but you won't lose your self-respect because you know you did everything well. You may lose, but you'll remain at peace with yourself because you fought honestly and to the end. You no longer judge yourself by the scoreboard. You judge yourself by the integrity of your game. And this inner strength is the most valuable currency you can earn in this life. This is true strength of character. Strength that no one and nothing can take away from you. Section 4. Accept what cannot be changed. Amorphism. You're already armed with 3 powerful principles. You separate spheres of influence, manage your perceptions, and focus on right action. But life isn't a lab experiment. Things happen that don't just ruin your evening plans, but turn everything upside down. Illness, the loss of a loved one, a sudden layoff, a global crisis that wipes out your savings. What then? Apply the dichotomy of control and say, it's beyond my control, so I'll ignore it. No, that won't work. The pain will be too real. Here comes what may be the most difficult, but also the most cathartic principle of Stoicism, amorphism, or, to put it simply, acceptance, but not the passive, despondent acceptance with which we often confuse this idea. Not throwing up and giving up. Stoic acceptance is not weakness. This is the highest form of intelligence. It is an act of powerful inner strength. I'll explain it with a metaphor. Imagine you're caught in a powerful ocean current. You can do 2 things. First, start struggling desperately, swimming against the current, screaming, expending your last bit of energy until you drown from exhaustion. This is resistance. Second, roll over onto your back, remain calm, and let the current carry you, conserving your strength and looking for an opportunity to swim to a calmer spot or to shore. This is acceptance. In both cases, you're in the ocean, but in the first, you're a victim making your situation worse. In the second, you're a tactician using reality for your own survival. Fighting reality is like trying to stop an avalanche with your bare hands. You'll expend all your strength and still be swept away. Reality is always stronger. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. It means acknowledging a fact, recognizing that the avalanche is already moving. And now the only reasonable question is, what will I do in this new, albeit terrible reality? The problem with modern men is that we expend colossal mental resources fighting what has already happened. We get stuck in a loop of what ifs. If only I had acted differently then. If only this crisis hadn't happened. If only she hadn't left. We try to rewrite a past that can no longer be changed. We carry this heavy, toxic burden with us, poisoning the present with it. Stoicism suggests changing the tune. Throw out the fruitless, why did this happen to me? And replace it with a powerful, practical, forward-looking. Okay, it happened. So what now? This simple formula is a magic key. It instantly transforms you from victim to creator. The victim whines about the injustice of the world. The creator evaluates the available resources and begins to build a new reality on top of the ruins of the old. Practice for a man. You've lost your job. Instead of panicking, blaming your former boss, and endlessly scrolling through job postings in a stupor, you say, okay, I lost my job. So what now? And you make a plan. Take a week off, develop a new skill, rewrite your resume, make new contacts. You don't deny the fact of being fired. You accept it as a new starting point. You're going through a painful breakup. Instead of stalking your ex or falling into depression, you say, okay, the relationship is over. So what now? And you start working on yourself. Sign up for a gym, find a new hobby, spend more time with friends. You accept the pain as a given and use its energy for transformation. Your plans for the year ahead have been ruined due to an external crisis. Okay, my plans have been ruined. So what now? And you begin to make new, more flexible and sustainable plans based on current realities. Acceptance isn't about defeat. It's about tactically regrouping. It's about stopping banging your head against a concrete wall and starting to look for a door or building a way around it. Or if all else fails, building a beautiful garden against that wall. When you accept reality as it is, you stop wasting your energy tilting at windmills and start investing it in what you can build in that very spot. You gain incredible flexibility and resilience. You become like bamboo, solid, yet bending under the force of a hurricane, only to straighten up again. This is your strength. the strength to accept in order to win. Section 5. Prepare for difficulties. Negative visualization. Now you know how to take the blows of fate when they arrive. But what if you could not just accept them steadfastly, but be prepared for them? What if there was a mental inoculation that would make you psychologically invulnerable and at the same time make you appreciate every moment of your life more intensely? It sounds like magic, but for the Stoics, it was a routine practice. They called it deliberate misuse, anticipating evil. And we, in modern terms, will call it negative visualization. Throw away superstitions right away. This is not attracting disaster. It's not self-deception about the bad. This is not about becoming paranoid and afraid of everything. Quite the opposite. The essence of this principle is ingeniously simple. Mentally, consciously, and regularly imagine losing what you have, or that your greatest fears are coming true. Sounds terrifying? But that's precisely where the enormous therapeutic and strengthening effect lies. Imagine for a minute, right now, that you've lost your job. Not abstractly, but directly. Someone called you and said, "That's it, you're no longer needed." Feel that punch in the solar plexus. Realize that tomorrow you won't be going to the office, that your normal rhythm of life has collapsed. Now stop. Look around. You're still home. Your family is nearby. You're healthy. You're just sitting here reading this. You still have a job. What did you feel just now? Most likely two things. First, relief, because that was just a thought experiment. Second, deep gratitude for still having this job, this home, this family. That's the big secret. We humans are wired to get used to all the good things. We take them for granted. Health, a roof over our heads, loved ones, a stable job. All of this becomes a backdrop, the gray wallpaper of our lives. We stop noticing and appreciating it. We focus on what we don't have. A new car, a promotion, a perfect relationship. The problem of modern life makes this 100-fold worse. We live in a consumer society that deliberately tells us, what you have isn't enough. You should want more. Social media shows us photoshopped images of others, making us feel inadequate. In our pursuit of more, we completely stop seeing and appreciating what we have. This breeds chronic anxiety, dissatisfaction, and spiritual fragility. When real adversity strikes, we break down because we've clung to these blessings for granted. Negative visualization is the antidote. It's a gym for your psyche. Practice for men. Spend 5 minutes in the morning or evening. Mentally review the most important areas. Health. Imagine that you've lost your sight or that you can't walk. Now open your eyes, stand up and walk around the room. Feel what a miracle this is. Work. Imagine that your company has gone bankrupt. Your profession is no longer needed. Now realize that today you can still do your job and get paid for it. Relationships. Imagine that your closest person is gone. Forever. Now call them or simply mentally thank them for being there. This isn't paranoia. It's a psychological inoculation. You inject yourself with a weakened virus of loss so that your psyche develops antibodies of resilience and gratitude. What does this give you? First, resilience. When trouble actually happens, the blow will be less deafening. You've been here before in your thoughts. You already know this route. You're prepared. Second, deep gratitude. Your morning cup of coffee, your evening with your family, even your difficult work, all of it will sparkle with new, vibrant colors. You'll begin to see the richness that already exists in your life. You'll stop being a blind man chasing mirages. Third, freedom from fear. You stop being so afraid of loss because, mentally, you've already experienced it and survived. You understand that even in the worst-case scenario, there's always something to cling to. At least, your attitude toward what's happening. You're no longer asleep on your feet. You awaken and see the fragile, precious beauty of your existence. And in this awakening lies a source of incredible strength and calm. You are prepared for the storm, and therefore you can finally truly enjoy the calm. Section 6. Remember your finitude. Memento Mori. You've become more resilient. You're grateful for what you have. You're prepared for the blows of fate. But there's one fundamental fact that underlies our entire existence. We studiously ignore it. repress it, hide it under a layer of everyday hustle and bustle. But the Stoics advise doing just the opposite. Don't run from it, but make it your primary advisor. This fact is our mortality. Memento Mori. Remember your mortality. Don't frown. This isn't a gloomy or masochistic sentence. It's not about walking around with skull in your hands and depressing everyone around you. It's the most powerful and sobering motivator imaginable. The essence of this principle is to regularly remind yourself, your time on this earth is limited. It's diminishing with every second. And no one knows when the final bell will ring. Tomorrow? In 30 years? This uncertainty isn't a reason for paralysis. It's fuel for action. Imagine you were told, in exactly 1 year your life will end. Inevitably. What panic? What horror would this thought unleash upon you? Now imagine a different scenario. You were given a year, but with one condition. You must live it so that on the last day, looking back, you won't regret a thing. You must feel as if you've lived this life honestly, fully, and in harmony with yourself. How will you change your life starting tomorrow? What trivialities will you immediately discard? What will you finally decide on? Chances are, your priorities will instantly align with crystal clarity. The problem with modern life is that we live as if we are immortal. We act on the assumption that we still have a whole life left. We put off the most important things until later. I'll make peace with my dad later. I'll start my own business later. I'll spend more time with the kids later. I'll tell her I love her later. We waste our days, those irretrievable units of life, on utter nonsense, on endlessly scrolling through feeds, on arguing with online trolls, on procrastination, on tasks that drain us, on communicating with people we don't like. We live on autopilot, drifting with the flow, because we think the shore is somewhere far away and we'll definitely reach it someday. Memento Mori is the alarm that pulls you out of this dream. It's the kick that brings you back to the present moment, to your only real life, which is happening right now. Practice for a man. Make Memento Mori your internal filter for all decisions, big and small. Before you do anything, ask yourself, is it worth wasting an hour of my one and only life on this pointless argument in the comments? I'm mad at my wife right now because my socks are scattered. Will it even matter in 5 years? Or on my deathbed, is what I do from 9 a.m. to 18 a worthy use of my limited time? If not, what can I do to change it? I'm putting off this important but difficult conversation. What if I don't have a chance to have it tomorrow? This question is your most powerful weapon against the trivial. It cuts through the fluff. It reveals the essence. It forces you to stop wasting time on trivialities. When you truly, deep in your bones, realize your mortality, something amazing happens. You stop putting off important conversations and decisions. You begin to appreciate simple moments. The taste of your morning coffee, a child's laughter, a loved one's embrace. Because you realize it's not just another day, but a unique, unrepeatable gift. You find the courage to quit an unloved job and a toxic relationship. Start that one project. Because the fear of failure pales in the face of the fear of wasting your life. You forgive offenses more easily. Why carry this poison inside you when your time is so limited? Memento Mori isn't about death. It's about life. About living it fully, consciously, and without regret. It's a reminder that your time is your most precious, irreplaceable resource. And you need to spend it wisely, not to create the perfect resume for others, but to create the perfect story for yourself on your last day. A story you'll tell yourself with a calm smile. Remember the ending so you can truly appreciate the beginning and the middle. This is a final step to achieving absolute clarity. Section 7. Service and duty. Citizen of the world. You've come a long way. You've gained inner strength. Learn to manage your perceptions. Act virtuously. Accept the inevitable. Appreciate the present and embrace finitude. Now comes a final, most important question. What is all this for? To become a perfect, self-sufficient rock, looking down on the world from its tranquil heights? To achieve personal nirvana while everything around you crumbles? No. Stoicism is not a hermit's philosophy. It is a philosophy of responsibility. A Stoic's personal development is meaningless unless it is directed outward. The final and perhaps most important principle is service and duty. The essence of this principle is that we are born not for isolation, but for cooperation, a famous Stoic metaphor. People are like separate organs of a single body. The hand cannot exist separately from the body, and the heart does not work exclusively for itself. They serve the whole, and in this service they find their highest meaning. You are a citizen not only of your country, but the entire world, cosmopolites. And your power acquires true value only when you use it for benefit of others. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the most powerful empire of his time, constantly reminded himself in his diaries, "What does my share of common nature say? I serve it, and it does to me now what is consistent with its general purposes." He saw himself not as an absolute ruler, but as a servant of his people and part of greater world order. The problem of modernity is particularly evident here. We live in an era of hypertrophied individualism. We are urged to focus on ourselves. Improve yourself. Invest in yourself. Your dreams come first. Social media cultivates the cult of personal branding, where other people become mere backdrops or tools for our advancement. This gives rise to an epidemic of loneliness, feelings of isolation, and existential emptiness. In pursuit of personal success, we lose our connection to community, and with it, a deep sense of belonging to something greater. Stoicism offers a cure for the spiritual desert. It says, "Your inner fortress is not a personal survival bunker. It is a citadel from which you emerge, protect, help, and build. Practice for man." This means shifting your focus from the eternal question, "What do I want?" to another, more powerful question, "What can I give?" This is not a call to martyrdom. It is a call to meaningful strength. Demonstrate your virtue in action. Be a support for your family. This isn't just about money. It's about emotional availability, the ability to listen. Be a real father, not just a provider. Be a partner who shares not only the daily chores, but also responsibilities. Your duty is to create a space of safety and love. Be a reliable colleague, doing your job honestly and well as already serving the team, helping a newcomer, sharing knowledge, and not shifting responsibility onto others. Being someone people can rely on is an expression of justice and courage. Be a useful member of your community. This could be anything: helping a neighbor, participating in a cleanup, making a donation if you can, or simply being the one who maintains order and respect in your yard. A man's true strength is demonstrated not by how much he can take on, but by how much responsibility he can shoulder. Power without responsibility is tyranny. Power directed towards service is leadership. When you begin to live by this mindset, the entire philosophy of Stoicism becomes complete. Your calm is not for watching indifferently, but for acting wisely when others panic. Your virtue is not for admiration in the mirror, but for being a beacon for those around you. Your capacity for acceptance enables you to endure the hardships that inevitably come with taking on responsibility. You cease to be a lonely atom struggling in chaos. You become part of the whole. And in this service, you find what no personal achievement can provide: an enduring sense of meaning and belonging. You understand that your life is not just your personal story. It is a chapter in the great book of humanity. And it is up to you to ensure that this chapter is filled with courage, justice, and meaning. Conclusion: forge your inner fortress. So, we've gone through all 7 principles. You're holding more than just a list of clever tips. You're holding a blueprint of your inner fortress. Let's look back on the journey so far. We started with a foundation, the sharing of control. You learn to distinguish your own battlefield from someone else's. You stopped wasting energy on wind and rain. Then we built walls, the walls of your perception. You discovered the gap between event and reaction where your true freedom lies. You learned to rewrite your narrative, turning obstacles into springboards. Then we laid supporting beams, virtue ethics. You shifted your focus from chaotic external results to controlled internal action. Now your self-esteem depends on the purity of your actions, not on the applause of the crowd. Then we fortified this fortress with the steel of acceptance. You stopped fighting the ocean and became someone learning to sail. Okay, so what now? became your mantra as you transformed from victim to creator. We didn't forget about training either. Negative visualization became your daily drill, a psychological inoculation that hardened you against the blows of fate and opened your eyes to the treasures you already possess. And the most important instruction came from Memento Mori. Understanding your finiteness became not a cause for melancholy, but fuel for action. The acute awareness that your time is limited forced you to cast aside the husks and focus on the essence. And finally, we opened the gates of this fortress. The principle of service and duty reminded you that the strongest citadel is not one that hides a hermit, but one for which emerges a leader, a protector, a support. Your strength acquired a higher meaning, the meaning of responsibility to others. Here it is, Stoicism. It's not a philosophy for hermits. It's a forge for the male soul. These 7 principles aren't 7 commandments to be memorized. They're 7 forging tools. Hammer, anvil, tongs. Tools you pick up every time life throws you a red-hot, shapeless lump of a problem. And you, as the blacksmith of your destiny, begin to forge it, to shape it, to transform chaos into order, threat into challenge, pain into strength. Now, after reading this, you might be tempted to try everything at once. Don't make that mistake. You won't be able to forge the impenetrable armor that Roman legionnaires spent years honing in a day. Here's your final call to action. Don't try to implement everything at once. Choose one principle, just one, for this week. For example, the dichotomy of control. And all week, catch yourself in moments when you try to control the uncontrollable. In a traffic jam, in an argument, waiting for news. Use only this one tool. Bring it to automaticity. Make it a part of you. Next week, take another one. Reassessment of events. And so on. This is a journey, not a sprint. A master blacksmith doesn't become great in a day. He becomes so by going to the anvil day after day. The modern world won't become kinder to you. It will continue to challenge you. The storms won't subside. But from now on, you have a compass. You won't be perfect. You will make mistakes. You will fail. But you will no longer be the one who gets blown away by the first gust of wind. You will be resilient. And that makes all the difference. Between the one who reacts and the one who responds. Between the boy who is tossed about and the man who stands firm. You are no longer a pawn in someone else's game. You are the master of your destiny. Forge it into something you can be proud of. Forge your inner fortress. And let the storms rage without.